Welcome back to FM Story. We're in the final stages of season 9 of our Save with Athletic Club. We have a Copa del Rey final to look forward to against one of the Madrid clubs, and we've still got a chance of finishing in the top 4 in the league. Can we add a second trophy during the save? Let's find out. Before we do get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get going. We are in the middle of April and it's time for the Copa del Rey final, as you can see, against Real Madrid. It's in Madrid but in Atletico Stadium. We have obviously beaten Real Madrid earlier on in the season in the league, but as we looked at the time, our overall record against them has been abysmal throughout the save. We go into the game in great form. So far in April, we've played pretty well. We do have a few issues in the squad in that we are struggling for defensive players, in that Danny Vivian and Iozu Achora injured and Hugo Guillamon is suspended. We were intending on using Achora right back to replace Guillamon, so obviously that's going to require a bit of a rethink going into the final. We started April off with a 1-0 victory over Levante. We really dominated the game, but it was another game that we've had a couple of times this season where we failed to take our chances when they appeared. And in the end, we needed a penalty from Ander Maturana to see us past Levante. We then followed that up with a 2-1 win away at Almeria. We took an early lead through Pablo Uregui and then doubled the lead just before the hour with Karika Buru. They pulled a goal back just after that, and they didn't really then go on to threaten too much. In fact, we probably could have added another goal or two towards the end, but we were able to hang on and secure the 2-1 win away from home against a team that we were battling in the league. I think at that point, we were level on points with them. We were then at home to Granada and basically blew them out of the water. We were 3-0 up just after the half hour. Unai Ribeiro picked up a goal, Maturano picked up a couple, and Ander Benito came off the bench in the second half once we were resting some of the players at the top end of the pitch and scored a goal. He's struggled in front of goal recently, so hopefully if we do need him, that's some confidence going forward that he knows he's got a goal. And then we went away to Villarreal, and it was a fairly dull game, a fairly even game. I think we had players with one eye on the final. Hugo Guillamon, who was suspended for the finals, managed to get himself suspended in the league. And it wasn't even a second yellow card. He got a yellow card just before half time, and then got a straight red card for a wild lunge in the Villarreal box. No idea what he was attempting with the tackle, but got himself sent off. But we were able to pick up a goal with Maturana scoring again. He's really kind of had a positive month or two, and hopefully this is a sign of him developing into the type of player that we expect him to be. As far as the league's concerned, we're actually currently sat second, but that's only because we've played 2 games more than Real Madrid. We've played a game more than Barcelona and we're 6 points behind them. We've played a game less than Almeria and we're 3 points clear of them. So hopefully with the game in hand, we can just solidify ourselves in the top 3. Obviously, you'd expect Real Madrid, once they play the games in hand, to go back above us in the table. Unai Ribeiro is still up in the top goal scorers. John Guerrero is still well clear in terms of the top assists in the league. This Copa del Rey, though, the final, is the start of a really tough run of fixture. Because after this game, midweek, we've got a game against Real Sociedad. At the weekend, we've got a game against Barcelona. And then the following weekend, we play Real Madrid again. So a tough 4 games, but just need to take them one at a time. And really, the Copa del Rey final is the important one here, because we should at the very least finish in the top 4 and qualify for the Champions League, no matter what happens in that run of 3 league games. With the injury issues we've got at the back, we've opted for Raul Huarte at right back, Robin Lenormand at the right side centre half, and Ike Quintanilla at the left side centre half. had it not been for the injury to Ochoa, Duarte would have probably played instead of Normand in the centre of defence. Julian John Guerrero's come back into the team. He's been missing from the recent league games because he was really struggling fitness-wise. So hopefully he's had a rest and he'll be able to come in and put in a performance. Obviously, it's a big game against a tough team. And as we said, our record against them in the save so far has been shocking. But we did win the most recent game. It's at a neutral venue. Hopefully we can keep things tight and maybe nick a winner. Right, Javi Lopez. Right, Lenormand driving forward. Finds Uregi, Julian John Guerrero. Oh! That would have been a great start. Going top corner. Oh! Thought that was going to dribble over the line. Right, Julian John Guerrero. That's a wild challenge. And a straight red card as well. A decent first half. I mean, they've not really troubled us. I mean, that massive spike in the XG there is obviously the free kick that came back and nearly dribbled over the line. But equally, we've not really threatened them too much either. I think given how some of the games went, particularly early in the save, there were games where we were sort of 4-0 down at half time. I would have taken 0-0, but we need to really press on and take advantage of the extra man. Right, Guendouzi. Right, cut it out. Please don't give the ball away in our own half. Please don't. Right, Duarte going down the right hand side. Back to Lenormand. Aymar Montero, who's come on at the back. Nico Serrano. Oh. Thank God it wasn't us that made that cock up at the back. Just we pressed. It took too long on the ball. Unai Ribeiro picked it off. Uregi back to Julian John Guerrero and he fires into the bottom corner. Now hopefully we can just keep it as tight as we've kept it the rest of the game. Come on. Second trophy of the save. Both times the Copa del Rey. Get the ticket tape going. As far as the game's concerned, we probably just about deserved it. It did help that they had 10 men for 75 minutes. And for us to pop up with such a late winner. We've made it to the final day of the season. We end the season with an away game at Girona. We're guaranteed to finish third in the league. So there's not much on the game. But we've played relatively well since the Copa del Rey final. We did have a bit of a hangover in the game immediately following that, the game against Sociedad. But since then, we've picked up the form a bit again. So we went away to Sociedad in the game immediately following the Copa del Rey final. And basically, we did not perform. We had a very young defence out there. But it's really no excuse. We just weren't at the races. I think the fact that it was just a couple of days after the Copa del Rey final probably had a big impact on that. And the less said about the 3-0 defeat, the better. We then went away to Barcelona and came out of the blocks flying. 2-0 up after 26 minutes, goals from Guerrero and Uregi. However, I think we were a bit lucky to get away with even the point. If you look at the match stats and their shots, the shots on target, their XG, Alvaro Fernandez had an outstanding game and goal. And we just couldn't hold on until the end. And once they got the first, it was really only a matter of second. Once they got the first, it was only a matter of time before they got the second. And we actually did well to hold on in injury time and stop them really having too many more chances after they equalised. We then completed a treble of horrible away fixtures with a trip to the Bernabeu, where we battered Real Madrid. We should have had more than one, but in the end, we managed to pick up a goal late on through Unai Ribeiro. We had missed a penalty in the first half, but really that's 3 games against Real Madrid this season, 3 victories. First time we've done that, certainly in the whole save. The form against Real Madrid going into the start of this season, I think we'd won 2 or 3 out of 20 games. So things have certainly improved in that respect. We then had a home game against Real Sporting, which we won 3-0. Another comfortable victory. We restricted them to 1 shot on target. Although we didn't have an awful lot of the ball, we did enough to create chances and to take the chances when they came along. We were then at home to Valencia, and really it's a game we should have won. We let them off the hook by not taking chances at the end of the first half, and then they came back and equalised in the 70th minute, and then we didn't really have another gear to go ahead and find another goal after that. And then in our final home game of the season, we got a bit of revenge against Betis as they hammered us 4-0 in Seville in the first game of the season. But Unai Ribeiro was outstanding, picked up a hat-trick. Macherano and Merino picked up goals as well, and we ran out deserved, comfortable 5-1 victors. As far as the table's concerned, we're guaranteed to finish third. The title's been decided. Real Madrid are the champions, which is a bit of a surprise, and I'll show you why in just a second. But as far as goals scored, Unai Ribeiro was in second with 25. John Guerrero was still well out in front of the in terms of the assists. Alvaro Fernandez is second in terms of clean sheets as well. So we've had a pretty decent season all in. We're going into the game against Girona on the last day of the season with the same team that started the game against Betis. It means George Ochoa, young left back, is in because Unai Ibanez and Javi Lopez have both been injured and really struggling for fitness. Robin Lenormand's been making noises that he wants to go back to France, so it's probably his last game for us as well, largely because with Quintanilla coming in and the development of Fuarte and Montero, he's probably past his best as far as what we've got. Oh, what a ball. Look for Macherano. Ribeiro. He must be onside. Yeah. Lovely ball forward by Quintanilla. Macherano draws 2 defenders to him, picks out Ribeiro, and he gets across the defender and puts it in the near post. Right, Hugo Guillamon with a throw in. Uregi, Sunset, Guillamon. And Macherano scored again. His 10th goal of the season. That loan spell he had last season has done him the world of good. Come back, firing, and he's really performed well in the last couple of months. I mean, what the defender did his best to get out of the way of that one. Decent first half. Some of the players definitely look like they're in holiday mode. But 2-0 up. I'm not giving them a sniff. We'll take it. Right, Ochoa with free kick. The keeper came and missed it, and Merino heads home. Right, he was never getting anywhere near that. Right, Serrano with the corner. I think that's a penalty. Right, Ribeiro steps up and scores. That should put him level with Benjamin Sesko before they play their game. Game over, and a pretty decent way to end the season. Comfortable victory. Yeah, lots of things to build on this season, I think, going into the 10th season. And now it's time for a quick look through the end of season review. So in terms of arrivals, we only signed 2 players. We signed Alvaro Fernandez in the summer, who has played pretty well, kept 18 clean sheets in the league, and yeah, not too bad. We brought Ike Quintanilla in, and that's largely because we had a lot of transfer budget and they wanted us to spend it, but also definitely a one for the future. And I think he's probably going to displace Robin Lenormand in the team going forward from the start of next season. In terms of transfers out, we sold Nico Williams for 40 million because he wanted out. We sold Kepa because he wanted out as well. Nico Williams actually seems to have had a decent season at Leicester, and I think they finished 5th in the Premier League as well. Kepa, not such a great season at Crystal Palace. We did send quite a lot of players out on loan, including Daniel Rodriguez, and part of the deal with Napoli was if he played 15 games, I think it was 15 games, it was a permanent deal, and he has played them, so he's going to go out on a permanent deal. In terms of some of the other players that have gone out on loan, I mean, Villalba scored goals, which he hasn't done for us, but not very prolific, played well though. Pascual seems to be developing nicely, which is what we sent him out for, 5 goals, 7 assists. The real one that was a success out on loan, although the average rating doesn't suggest it, only 6.9. David Uranga got 22 goals for Celta Vigo and actually finished 3rd in the Golden Boot behind Benjamin Sesko, who scored 4 on the last day of the season to win it from Unai Ribeiro. So the expectation from the board was for us to qualify for the Champions League, which we did, finish 3rd comfortably. I mean, we were 12 points clear of Real Sociedad, who were in 5th. We had a relatively straightforward start to the season in terms of the fixture list, and that kind of showed in how we started. Obviously, the defeat against Sporting is a bit of a disaster, and then we got hammered by Betis at the beginning of December, but we were able to bounce straight back and beat Real Madrid. I mean, as far as the league's concerned, we drew both games against Barcelona and beat Real Madrid twice as well. So we obviously just need to tidy up some of the performances, like against the likes of Sporting, against Levante, against Celta Vigo, just to be able to potentially mount a title challenge. Now that the players that we've had in through our youth intake are starting to hit some form in the team, I'm hoping that there's a chance that we can challenge. It is getting harder in terms of transfers though, because basically anyone that's good enough to play or good enough to be in the first team has either come through with us or they've come through with Sociedad, and either they don't want to sell them or they don't want to come to us anyway. So it is much more, the longer we go on, it's much more relying on bringing in the odd experienced player like we did with Laporte, like we did with Marino, like we did with Lenormand, and also really developing those players that are coming in through the youth intake. Champions League, they wanted us to be competitive. We reached the round of 16. They were happy with that. We didn't start off the best with that game against Tottenham. And we ended in a bit of a shambles in that we ran into Dusan Vlahovic on a really bad day. I mean, Juventus made it to the semi-final of the Champions League before they were knocked out by PSG on penalties. So obviously they were a decent team. But then again, I mean, PSG in the final, we beat them. So on our day, we can probably beat just about anyone in Europe. It's just we've got to be a bit more consistent, especially when it gets to the knockout stages as well. Copa del Rey, expectation was to reach the last stages. Obviously, we won that. How that's only a B, I don't know. A B for winning the Copa del Rey when that wasn't actually the expectation, and we hammered our rivals in the semi-final and beat Real Madrid in the final. I think that's a bit harsh. So in terms of how we lined up, it was that 4-2-3-1. We have gone a lot more cautious with it in the last season and a half, and I think it's paid off quite a bit in that we're not conceding as many goals. We could do with getting some centre halves or some performances from centre halves, because like Javi Lopez onwards, everyone's performed really well. Centre halves have struggled a bit at times, and I don't know whether that's because of the fullbacks bombing on and they've been left to control things a bit more. But I mean, Unai Ribeiro, 37 goals in all competitions. Nico Serrano, 14 goals, 9 assists. Julian Guerrero, 10 goals, 22 assists. Uregi, 12 goals, 8 assists. All the front players have really, really done particularly well this season. Especially Julian Guerrero, once he signed his new contract, which at times it looked like he wasn't going to do. Ever since he signed that, sort of from January onwards, his form's been outstanding. It's hard to believe as well. It's hard to believe when you look at him and the performance he's put in that he hasn't even made a friendly appearance for Spain. I think he's been called up to the squad once, and that was during this season. But they still don't use him, or haven't used him, or haven't found a need for him, because he can play. I mean, we have at times played him in that deep line playmaker role in front of the back four. So he can play everywhere. But don't know, the longer they leave him out, the more rest he gets in international weeks. And yeah, it was a really good season. We finished third. Real Madrid won the title last season by 20 points. They only won it by, I think they only were clear of us by 9 points. I'm in third. We've won the Copa del Rey again. Great season. Lots to build on going into season 10. And that's the end of this episode and the end of season 9. Join us next time for season 10. See who we sign in the transfer window. See if we can close the gap further on Real Madrid. And see if we can defend the Copa del Rey. Thanks for watching. See you next time.